Imagine sending money internationally,
Mm-hmm.
like as easy and as cheap as, just shooting off a quick text.
Yeah.
That future might be closer than we think, actually, thanks to a pretty major partnership in the crypto world.
Right?
We're diving into this news about Binance.
Mm-hmm.
Binance,
Mm-hmm.
which is, as you probably know, like the world's biggest crypto exchange.
Huge.
Joining forces with Circle,
Yep.
the company behind that popular USDC stablecoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some of you might be thinking, stable what? Binance who?
Right.
Don't worry, we've got you.
We'll break it down.
Yeah, we're going to break it all down for you.
Totally.
So we're basing our deep dive today on a recent article about this strategic alliance that was announced at Abu Dhabi Finance Week, no less.
Big stage.
Mm-hmm. Pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So we'll break down why this partnership is a big deal, what it means for the future of digital currencies,
Mm-hmm.
and why you should care, even if you've never bought a Bitcoin in your life.
Exactly. Even if you've never even, dipped your toes in the crypto waters. This is something to pay attention to.
For sure.
So let's start with like a quick intro to these two big players.
Yeah, who are these guys?
Binance and Circles, right?
Yeah.
So Binance, as you said, it's the world's largest crypto exchange,
Mm-hmm.
founded by Changpeng Zhao, CZ as he's known.
Right. CZ, I've heard that.
Yeah, back in 2017.
Wow. So not that long ago.
Relatively new
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, but they've grown like crazy fast,
I can imagine.
known for, their huge trading volume, the wide variety of cryptocurrencies you can trade on there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they have like a massive user base, something like 240 million users
That's unbelievable.
globally. Yeah.
Wow.
And then on the other side, we have Circle,
Okay.
founded in 2013 by Jeremy Allaire and Sean Neville. They're really focused on, stable coins, payments, and really, I think a key thing for them is regulatory compliance.
Okay.
They're they want to play by the rules. They're trying to build trust with regulators and the traditional financial system,
Right. That makes sense.
which is pretty interesting because it sort of contrasts with, sometimes the Wild West perception of the crypto world.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's interesting because you have these two, like you said, kind of coming from different sides.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You have Binance, which thrives on that like fast-paced, sometimes volatile
Volatility.
world of crypto trading. And then you have Circle, which is really focused on that stability, on building trust.
Yep, exactly. And so, the question is like, why would these two seemingly very different players decide to team up?
Right. Yeah. What's the motivation behind that?
Well, I think there's a few things going on here.
Okay.
For Binance, integrating USDC into their platform,
Okay.
it gives their huge user base, like I said, 240 million users, a way to kind of like transact and even, park their funds in a more reliable way, right? Because stablecoins, by definition,
Right.
are designed to be stable. They're pegged to, in this case, the US dollar.
So it's less risky.
Exactly. Less risky, less volatile, which can be very appealing to a lot of users.
I can see that.
Especially, maybe newer users who are a little bit intimidated by the volatility of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
Right.
So it makes the platform more attractive, potentially brings in more users.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also sends a signal to regulators that Binance is serious about financial stability.
Okay. Interesting.
They're not just about, wild speculation. They're trying to offer something that's a bit more, grounded and stable.
Right. So they're trying to legitimize themselves a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's an element of that for sure.
Okay.
And then for Circle, tapping into Binance's massive user base
Yeah.
is a huge opportunity to increase USDC adoption.
Makes sense.
Right. Get more people using their stablecoin,
Right.
make it a more prominent player in the stablecoin arena.
Okay. So it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both companies.
So, I mean, this is all very interesting for people in the crypto world, but what's the bigger picture here? Why should someone who, maybe just listens to this podcast, why should they care about this?
Well, I think, the reason this is significant is because stablecoins, especially when they're linked to major exchanges like Binance, have the potential to really change how we think about and use money.
Okay.
Imagine international transfers that are near instant and super low cost
Right.
becoming the norm, right? That could be huge for businesses, for individuals who need to send money abroad.
Right.
And then you think about the possibilities for financial inclusion,
Right.
right? People who don't have access to traditional banking, maybe they're in countries with, unstable currencies.
Yeah.
Stablecoins could give them a way to participate in the global economy.
So it's giving access to people who didn't have it.
Exactly. And that's a really powerful idea, I think.
That's really interesting.
So it's not just about, speculation and trading. There's a real potential here for positive social impact.
Okay, so there's upsides, but I have to ask, are there downsides to this stablecoin surge, this potential surge?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to acknowledge that, right? It's not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
There are some things to be cautious about.
Okay. Such as?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is regulation.
Mm,
The regulatory landscape for stablecoins is still very much evolving.
right.
There's a lot of uncertainty. Governments are still figuring out how they want to approach this,
Yeah.
which creates uncertainty for businesses, for users.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind.
And you said they're trying to, play by the rules, but how do you regulate something like this?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? That's what policymakers are grappling with right now. I mean, some of the things they're looking at are, do stablecoin issuers need to hold reserves? How transparent do they need to be about their operations? What kind of consumer protections need to be in place?
Right. So there's a lot of details to work out still.
Exactly. And until those details are worked out, there's going to be a certain level of uncertainty and risk.
Right. So that's one downside.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something else, centralization.
Yeah, that's another key issue.
Okay.
Right now, companies like Circle, they hold a lot of power in the stablecoin market.
Right.
They're the ones issuing these coins. They're the ones controlling the reserves,
Right.
which raises questions about, control and potential risks.
Right. So isn't that counter to the whole idea of cryptocurrency in the first place?
Well, it's definitely a tension, right? Because one of the original ideas behind cryptocurrency was decentralization,
Right.
taking power away from central authorities, but with stablecoin.
You're kind of centralizing again.
You're kind of reintroducing that centralization. And so that's something that, a lot of people in the crypto community are concerned about.
That makes sense.
And it's something that I think, needs to be part of the conversation as we think about the future of stablecoins.
Okay. So this Binance Circle partnership,
Yeah.
is this like a precedent? Are we going to see more of this?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think this move could very well spark a trend as other players in the industry see the benefits of this kind of partnership,
Right.
combining the trading power of an exchange with the stability of a stablecoin issuer.
Right. So kind of hedging your bets a little bit.
Exactly. And I think it'll also be very interesting to see how regulators respond to this.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to be watching closely to see how this partnership plays out
Right.
and what it means for, the broader financial system.
Okay. So this is definitely something we need to keep our eye on.
Oh, absolutely. I think
Yeah.
this is a really key development in the evolution of digital currencies.
It feels like a turning point.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
And for our listeners out there, what should they be, thinking about? How should they be processing this information?
I mean, I think for the average person, it's worth considering how stablecoins might affect your own financial life down the line.
Okay.
Will you be sending money to family overseas using USDC?
Right.
Will you be, paying for goods and services with stablecoins?
Yeah.
These are questions that, we might all be facing in the not too distant future.
Right.
And I think this partnership is a sign that, the world of finance is changing, and stablecoins are likely to play a much bigger role than many people realize. And it's something to pay attention to learn about.
Yeah, for sure. Keep your eye on this space.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating discussion.
Yeah, it's a really interesting development.
I really appreciate you breaking it down for us.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. And for our listeners, keep thinking about this. Keep an eye on this. It's a big deal, and it could have big implications for all of us.
Absolutely. I think this is just the beginning.
I think so too. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
And we'll see everybody next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.